DonInLondon, hello. My video for May 2nd, all about recovery from addiction to substance or behaviour. Both for me, my addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour equally addictive around people, places and things. Very self-centred, very self-oriented, and not looking out very much in the end. Completely isolated by drinking. So, what's helped me? AA, the Fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for it, never can, never will. It's full of unique, authentic people who will speak where they will, as they choose, about their recovery. So whilst I don't represent it, I share a lot about AA simply because it keeps me sober one day at a time. And I share here the daily reflections, which are very close readings which highlight the steps of recovery, 12 steps to live life as it is. Stay sober, be sober, and then the rest of life can work. So May is all about step 5, and it reads exactly as: admitted to God, to ourselves and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So having done the moral inventory in step 4, we then share it with another human being and God as you come to understand, or as you don't come to understand, because you can be anything. And just be yourself. That's the truth about sobriety. You can be yourself, find out what works for you, and I'm so grateful for that. So I will start with the AA preamble, and this is what it is: Alcoholics Anonymous. It's not there to make you anything, it's there for you to find your freedoms again, freedom to choose. So AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So, with the sirens going in the background, May 2nd, lighting the dark past. Cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. Start again. Lighting the dark past. Cling to the thought that, in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. With it you can avert death and misery for them. So as we avert death and misery for ourselves in recovery by being sober and dealing with all the stuff that we've done in our moral inventory, our personal appraisal of assets and liabilities, then we start a new life with a reference book, as it's called, step 4. No longer is my past an autobiography. It is a reference book to be taken down, opened and shared. Today, as I report for duty, the most wonderful picture comes through. For though this day may be dark, as some days must be, the stars will shine even brighter later. My witness that they do shine will be called for in the very near future, when I share about recovery. All my past will this day be part of me. So in other words, we don't discard anything or try and push anything away. We embrace everything that we have been, so that we can learn from it. All my past will be part of this day, because it is the key, not the lock. So the lock was being stuck in our old ways of living, and the key which unlocks it all is simply by creating a reference book of assets and liabilities in step 4, which then become the learning point of that's how I used to be, this is how I prefer to be today, and I'm going to work towards that. So step 5 is all about letting out the secrets to ourselves, to another human being, and to a higher power as we come to understand. And it can be simply good conscience or God, depending on your belief system. Excuse me. So step 5 is a release from all that horror. We don't lose the horror, we learn from it. And we do have to go back and look at it, but we don't have to keep on standing in the old ways. We form new ways of living and behaving with those we love and who come to love us back, hopefully, because we're new people. So attitudes and behaviour can change. An old dog can learn new tricks if they are willing, open, honest and willing to change. So what helps when we're trying to change anything, and the only thing we can change is our own attitudes and behaviour. We can try on the rest of the world till doomsday, and they may say yes in front of us or no in front of us. We can't persuade them to our point of view. All we can do is see how we fit with the big picture and be a part of it in any shape or form that seems appropriate and is discussed and agreed. That's how it works in democracy and in the anarchic democracy of the Fellowship of AA. So that's it for this day. I always share the Serenity Prayer at the end, the can do, can't do and wisdom learning that is available in every single moment that we're alive. So to God, or in good conscience, this meditation works. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, often learned just for today and in the moment of now. DonInLondon, hello. May 2nd, nearly stumbled on that, May 2nd, 2009. My video is all about living in recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. Now, living in recovery, which means I don't do whatever it was which upset my system. My addictive substance was alcohol. My behaviour, trying to be perfect and never so, workaholic, relationshipaholic, all the holics and isms. And I've come back down to one ism, which is to remain sober a day at a time, or be sober, or live sober. I think it's actually living and experiencing my life sober. This means I get to the truth of me, hopefully, with less denials. We're not perfect, we'll make our progress as we can. And it is that, just presently making progress with my life, and incrementally, one day at a time, learning how to live and accept who I am and what I am. So I guess these days I learn more about how to be me, who I am on a daily basis, just a little bit more. And the Fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, helps me tremendously keep on track. To get to AA took medical, family, professional, community support, and I was as good as any other drunk or any other person suffering from addiction. And it is an ailment, a disease of our emotional and spiritual nature, I guess. We thought our way into drinking because we thought we could do it and get away with it. And the problem with thinking we can get away with it, we have self-will run riot and willpower deserting us in those final throes of trying to control something which is absolutely beyond our control. So my sober life is based on the premise that I am powerless over alcohol, and if I take a drink, my life will become manageable again. And that's the first step of a 12-step action program that AA offers as suggestions, simply suggestions. And in the last 24 hours I've been discussing with more than one person what is sober. You know, we've got 12 steps of action for an individual, and what is sober? Sober is in the preamble of the fellowship meetings. It's shared at every meeting at the beginning, and it goes like this. And the reason why I say it is because I need to remind myself of that one thing. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And it's the stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. What I learned, the reason why I say my addictions to substance and behaviour, but my primary addiction was covered up, and my primary addiction was not being sober. And drink alcohol was the primary reason why I lost the plot. And listening to one or two other people who go to other fellowships besides AA, there are many other AA 12-step programs, and it can be for eating disorders, behavioural disorders, but behind it always it's the desire to be sober, to live the path of truth, open, honest and willing to connect with now, the reality of now, as best we can. We will always have some denials and filters going on, because sometimes we get overwhelmed, but we don't necessarily have to go back to covering it up with oblivion, with a drug or a particular way of behaving. And the reason why I'm saying this so emphatically this morning, I hear stories and misunderstandings about the 12-step program. The most important thing, if you are on a 12-step program, stick with the one you're on, so that you're not confusing the issue by going to multiple fellowships. I don't know how many steps one person thinks they can do at one time, but it's the logical ego mind which suggests to us that we can do more than one set of 12 steps. So if the actual primary purpose is to get sober and help other people be sober, the answer is whatever 12-step program you are working, if you deal with your primary addiction and connect with how to not overcome it, but live with the condition and get sobriety one day at a time, then I think and feel, emotionally I feel, that is probably the best way. My thinking and my ego will say, go to as many fellowships as you think is right for you, for all the addictions you have. And you know, if we have 12 fellowships which we are attending, or 3 fellowships, you can multiply it by 12 steps. So you'll end up doing, if it's 3 fellowships you think you ought to be in, it's 36 steps. And this is what I hear. And you know, this is the cognitive thinking mind bewildering our emotional mind. So spiritual is seeing the truth of now, and emotional is accepting what is going on with our feelings. I've always come to the conclusion that our feelings never lie to us, but we can sure make our thinking elaborate, so if we feel something, we feel the truth, and then we either turn it into more truth by our thinking, or more denials and more filters, because we don't quite like or accept the truth. And you know, the greatest thing to do if we are in any fellowship program is accept step 1. And acceptance around step 1 is, if we drink or do whatever it is all the time to the point of addiction, life is unmanageable. So it's a plea really just to keep on one path of sobriety, and whatever 12-step program you're on, stick with it and it will work for you. But if you try and mix them up, I think there is a danger of overcomplicating, overthinking, and not actually getting to our emotional truth, the emotional truth of how to make our lives livable in the moment. So spiritual, emotional, physical are the, I suppose, measures we can apply to our recovery. But if we do it 36 times over in a day, can you do that? Only superficially. And the reason why I put cherish always at the end of my videos these days is because if we cherish ourselves enough and love ourselves enough, then we're onto a good firm standing to keep on going. And I was in the company of people with a few complaints yesterday, not in my meetings but generally about what they're up to, and I shared with them, you know, my understanding of spiritual truth. God is truth, God is love, God works through people. So if we isolate, we're on our own, in our own stinking thinking mode. And that people like Freud, or it's attributable to Freud, but I think it probably goes back thousands of years, saying that there are 3 key elements to living. The first is loving oneself, and then loving other people, and then having something useful to do. So back in the day, when we were just coming out of caves, it was all about get together with one person, love each other, and go find an animal to take home for dinner. And it hasn't really changed that much. We are not that overcomplicated. Our societies are elaborating things to make us feel better about our situation. But I think the emotional thing of to be loved, to love, and have something useful to do, whatever it is, you know, whatever endeavour it is, it's the way forward. And my time is short. I just want to share, I went out yesterday and I saw a very old man pass me on his bicycle, whizzing along. It's a speed which was beyond my capacity, and I've got a 21 speed bicycle, and it was a headwind, and I followed him as far as I could, and he ended up at an electric bike shop. Now, not being one to I just wanted to know how it worked, and he lent me his bicycle, ordinary bike, except it's got an electric motor in the back, and it goes along at 15 miles an hour, even up hills. So I was out on it for half an hour. I was only supposed to be out there for 5 minutes, but he was quite cool about it because he sells them, and he looked after my dear old bike, which can't cope with it. And well, actually, it's me, the rider, who can't keep up. So it was a momentous day to actually enjoy seeing the scenery go past and keep my eyes on the road as well. And one of my pastimes, my useful things to do, is to have something which I cherish as something I do, and that's taking photos. It's for me, not for anybody else, and I love it. So today I'm exhausted because I've been all over the place, and I'm looking after some pussycats or someone, and I'm just generally, I've overdone it. So it might seem a bit tired, and I haven't done the readings yet, and I may do them later. But the gift of today is simply this, with the serenity prayer, if I stick with it. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Let's accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can in the moment. And the wisdom to learn the difference, or know the difference. So just for today, that's all it is. Hello, Don in London, all about recovery and Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, I speak for myself. However, AA is integral to my daily well-being, and here's the AA preamble spoken at all meetings of AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Don in London, May 2nd, and it's just coming up to 8:05 in the morning, 2008. And here I am again, and the last 24 hours has been an education in uploading my videos to a different website, so that if YouTube goes down for any reason, then I have them safe and sound in my own video vault, I guess, on DonInLondon, which is part of myphotoalbum.com. So I might just put that link in so you know where I am should anything go wrong. And you know, life is precious, and I realise, as I was nearly squashed off the road last night, that we can be upended and put on the sidelines, if you like, by any sort of event which is just coincidence. And riding around on my bicycle, because walking is painful, has been a godsend. Without the bike I don't know where I'd have been, because my bus stops are fairly distant from where I am. And I'm sort of in between two tube stations, so whichever way I walk, it means I'm almost burnt out by the time I get there. And that's because of neuropathy, which is one of the extra things I got in recovery. And the gift of recovery is I'm long enough alive to be getting other things wrong with me. And that's just as life is. So type 1 diabetes, clinical depression, a raft of other small side effects, and some which are so painful it's untrue. And I'm having to go through this because various different departments in the government need my details and my medical records, so they may decide what they may do for me, if anything. So far it's been okay, but you know, the system is not set up to process information easily. It's there to stop you in your tracks and make you think about what you're doing and what is it all about. And you know, the motives. People need to be looked after if they have problems, and I do have problems. At the same time, they're trying to make sure that only those with the real problems get any help at all. And with any system of benefits, I guess, they are open to abuse. So I wonder, and it always makes me feel guilty, because I'd much rather be working rather than having to admit that there's something which I cannot overcome at the moment. And it's part of the programme and the fellowship that we actually admit where we are today, being in the now, and accepting where we are. It doesn't make it easy. Acceptance isn't being happy. Acceptance is understanding what you can and cannot do on a daily basis and adjusting oneself accordingly. So I have to make adjustments, and it's just the way it is. Anyway, this is all about May, step 5 in the Daily Reflections, this book. And as the months go on in this year, each step is covered. The 12 steps of AA, 12 months. So May, step 5, is all about sharing our step forward with somebody. And I'll just read out a bit of the 12th step, step 5. Admit it to God, or in my case good conscience, to ourselves and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. And when I admitted it to another human being, I chose somebody who was Portuguese because their English speaking wasn't so good. What I didn't realise was that their English hearing was very good. So that was in my early days. All of AA's 12 steps ask us to go contrary to our natural desires. They deflate our egos. When it comes to ego deflation, few steps are harder to take than 5, but scarcely any step is more necessary to long time sobriety and peace of mind than this one. AA experience has taught us we cannot live alone with our pressing problems and the character defects which cause or aggravate them. If we have swept the searchlight of step 4 back and forth over our careers, and it is revealed in stark relief those experiences we'd rather not remember, if we have come to know how wrong thinking and action have hurt us and others, then the need to quit living by ourselves with those tormenting ghosts of yesterday gets more urgent than ever. We have to talk to somebody about them, and I think that's true. And because I was a bit slippery and sneaky at the beginning, I wanted to share my step forward with somebody I felt maybe couldn't really understand the depth of my shame and my guilt. And I did it again with somebody who's a very good English speaker as well as English listener. And I have to laugh at myself because, this whole program is about trial and error. And as I did a Tradition 4 chair on Monday, I heard a Tradition 4 chair last night given by somebody with decades of experience in the program. And that in a general way, what they were saying, they would defend another person's right to speak and be wrong or right. And what they were saying was it's all about trial and error, and nobody's perfect. And I certainly was nowhere near perfect when I was starting these steps. I'm still nowhere near perfect, and I seem to only make progress a day at a time. So the daily reading from AA Daily Reflections for the 2nd of May, lighting the dark past. Cling to the thought that in God's hands, or in good conscience, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. With it you can avert death and misery from them. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 124. It goes on to say, no longer is my past an autobiography. It's a reference book to be taken down, open and shared. Today, as I report for duty, the most wonderful picture comes through. For though this day be dark, as some days must be, the stars will shine even brighter later. My witness that they do shine will be called for in the very near future. All my past will this day be part of me, because it is the key, not the lock. And as we undo the lock, and I've been talking about the power of now, what we're doing is saying, okay, well, we've got the wisdom of all the years, the good and the bad, and now we can use that as our database and also leave it in the database so that we can get on with today. And if we encounter things similar to what has happened before, we need to recognise what we can do and what we can't do. And part of this is accepting powerlessness over people, places and things, and also being able to express our truth as it is, because it's simply the truth as we understand it right now. And that's why I put in God or good conscience, and that's when I was doing that reading, because as many understand they have a God of their understanding, and as I say, there's 6.5 billion definitions based on the number of people on the planet, then I'm just coming to an understanding that truth and love will do fine, and that God or good conscience works through people. So, coming on to As Bill Sees It, page 150, no boundaries. Meditation is something which can always be further developed. It has no boundaries, or width or height or depth. Aided by such instruction and example as we can find, it is essentially an individual adventure, something which each one of us works out in his own way. But its object is always the same: to improve our conscious contact with God, or good conscience, with His grace, wisdom and love, or the grace, wisdom and love to make life work. And let's always remember that meditation is in reality intensely practical. One of its first fruits is emotional balance. With it we can broaden and deepen the channel between ourselves and God, or good conscience, as we understand. And that's so important for me, because we're all here to learn, and every day is a new day. So if we're open to learning on a daily basis about what we can and cannot do, we are informing our choices, and it's most important that we do it on a daily basis. We stay in the day. We don't hark back to if it was only like, or what would it be like if. We can have those a little bit, but if we actually live in the day, we are making the best of it, and that is to focus on and see the world as it is right now.